Hello, everyone. I'm Janet Salmons, and I write and edit the When the Field is Online newsletter. This year, I've been focusing on ways to design and conduct studies that involve human researchers studying the lived experience of other humans, whether participants or through their expressions that we collect and analyze. Recently, I've been writing about diary and narrative methods, and I differentiated between solicited and unsolicited approaches. For a solicited diary, the researcher sends or posts questions or prompts for a defined period of time, could be days, weeks, or months, or even years, and then collects and analyzes those responses. If you've missed those posts, they're all available and the archive is open access. Now let's look at the other kind, unsolicited. These are either written, visual, photographed, or even oral histories that were created by folks who had life experience they wanted to record, and the researcher, had nothing to do with it. They could be contemporary or historic. So let's look at yet one more differentiation that applies to us as researchers, because we could include diaries and narrative materials as a part of an elicitation style of interview or even participant observation. If you were going to study me, if I were your participant, you might ask me about my journaling experience and process. I do little paintings and art journals wherever I go. It's a big part of my life to do this and record my experiences. I also do travel journals where I will save little, kind of ephemera maps, etc., for the places that I've gone. We'd have all kinds of things to talk about if we looked at those journals, or we could discuss history. And because amazingly enough, in my family, people actually also kept journals. See this very nicely typewritten journal that includes all kinds of photographs. And so needless to say, we'd have lots to talk about if we were using those materials as an elicitation method within an interview. I think of it like phenomenological uh, methodology. The journal is the phenomenon. So you could take my journals, read them, look at the pictures, come up with your questions, that you want to explore with me. So those would be the phenomenon. And then there's the perception, the consciousness, the awareness, the experience of the phenomenon. Why do I do it? How do I do it? What does it mean to me? Why is it important, etc.? So you could see that, this could add uh, to quite a robust exchange. Now, of course, there are lots of materials that don't allow you to talk with the person about what they did because perhaps we are studying a different time frame or another part of the world. And luckily, as online researchers, we can find lots and lots of materials available. Some are open access, and for others, you may need to get permission to dig into those online collections. So one of the dilemmas is that while we may assume that we're in an online world and everything is available as a digital form, that is not the case. There are a lot of decisions that go into deciding what material gets digitized. And of course, like everything else, it has to do with the funding, so, for an important person, you may be able to find, lots and lots of materials, but for others, maybe not. So in online collections, you may find the entire set of materials, or you may locate what is called finding aids. That's basically a kind of formal indexing system that might tell you, yes, this library holds this person's records, and they have 10 boxes that cover this time period. And if you want to know what's in the boxes, you're going to have to come here and look at them yourself. So I think, if we're doing historical kinds of research using diary and narrative materials, it's probably going to be a bit of a hybrid process where we may have the physical materials and that we are, handling and reading ourselves, or we may be using online libraries to access materials that have been digitized, or we may be using our online research skills to find where the materials are housed and to contact the librarians to make the necessary arrangements to either have some of those materials scanned and sent to you, or to make a visit and do that research in person. I've interviewed a couple of very interesting librarians who work in this field, and they explain these steps very clearly. So I hope that you'll take a look at those interviews. One is with someone from Cornell University, who is the head of their archives, and the other is from the U.S. Library of Congress. And they also explain kind of what reference librarians in those settings can and can't do to help you as a remote researcher. I hope that you find this kind of research as interesting as I do, and that you'll find some materials in this series of newsletters that might either intrigue you to think about a new project, or might provide some additional depth to a project you're doing. Thanks.